So today, I decided to get real weird with you guys. We are going to be talking about some spooky new Space Force stuff. Specifically, some fun little future weapons, commonly referred to as UFOs. Am I really going there? Yep, I'm going there. Now, many of you have already seen the official teasers in the press. For those of you that haven't, I'll give you a bunch of examples in the comments section below, just so you can be on board. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please pause this video and check those out first, so that the rest of this makes sense to you. But long story short, the US Navy released footage last year of a real paranormal encounter some fighter pilots had with a real UFO. It made headlines in almost every major news outlet worldwide, from BBC to CNN. But most people never even heard about it, because our news was too busy telling us about how Orange Man bad to focus on hard evidence of UFOs for longer than a day. Amazing how the US Navy can literally release footage and official statements about these things, yet no one in our kangaroo media cares for more than a day. They can even establish official military guidelines and hold official briefings in Congress. But no matter what happens, 24 hours later, our kangaroo media will go straight back to talking about how Orange Man bad. The people who bring us our news are oftentimes the most vapid, shallow, and chronically uncurious people on this earth, which is a big part of the reason that we're doing the QAnon op this way in the first place. See who is shallow and will ignore real information if it's not served up to them the way they're used to receiving it, or from the people they are used to receiving it from. And who will follow the facts no matter who they come from or what kind of crazy place they lead. Think of it as something like a massive dose of intellectual humility for a global population desperately in need. With that in mind, let's dive in. The first thing you need to know is that time is not linear or constant like many of us were raised to believe that it is. Time is actually a dynamic force controlled by gravity, meaning that on planets bigger than ours, time moves slower because the planet has more mass and therefore more gravity, and therefore that gravity grabs time firmer and slows it down more. So they experience time at a slower rate. Like if we went to a planet twice as big as the Earth, the time there would move half as fast, meaning that one day there would equal 2 days here on Earth. Like in that movie Interstellar with Brad Pitt, where he goes to that giant ocean world for like a day and he comes back and it's like 30 years later. Spooky concept, right? And time isn't just different between us and other planets. It's even slightly different between different places here on Earth. Did you know that if you were to stand at the top of the Empire State Building, that you would be experiencing time slightly faster than if you were to stand in the lobby instead? That's because, closer to the Earth's surface, Earth's gravity is slightly stronger, grabbing the time slightly tighter and causing it to move slightly slower. The technical term for this is time dilation. Time dilation, or the difference between the rate at which objects at sea level are experiencing time and objects at other various high altitudes are experiencing time, is a real-world factor that has been accounted for by rocket scientists and satellite engineers since the 50s. GPS navigation would not work properly without accounting for time dilation. So how is that relevant to UFOs? Well, I'll tell you how. It's because those UFOs are not in fact UFOs at all. They are time machines, and they aren't made by aliens. They're made by humans in the future, the very near future. That's why the military has been ordered to ignore them since the 50s, because they didn't want to cause an adverse butterfly effect. Now, I won't get into exactly what a butterfly effect is right now because it's kind of a complicated thing to explain. But luckily, there's a movie called The Butterfly Effect starring Ashton Kutcher that can give you kind of an idea of what I mean. The way you could tell they're time machines, without just taking my word for it, is with physics equations. If we look at the empirical data provided by the Navy about the UFO's aerial maneuvers, we could use physics equations to easily deduce that they would not be possible without a time machine. The reason is g-forces. G-forces are the extra pull of gravity you experience during a rapid acceleration or in a high-speed aerial maneuver. Fighter pilots and astronauts are generally trained to withstand up to 9 Gs, or 9 times the normal pull of gravity. But that is about the maximum a human body can safely endure. Anything much more than that would cause their body to be crushed and eventually kill them. Which is why we can be so certain that that UFO in those videos is actually a time machine. Because no living or artificial thing could survive the aerial maneuvers that UFO was performing without being crushed by the G-forces that it would create, unless they were warping time. I won't bore you with the gigantic math equation, but suffice it to say that even if your body was made out of solid titanium, the G-force exerted by going from a dead stop here to a dead stop 60 miles away in just a matter of seconds would smash you flat as a pancake and the vehicle you were riding in. The only way it's mathematically possible to move like that is by warping time. So again, just to reiterate, that UFO is not an extraterrestrial alien spaceship. It's actually a human future weapon, one that I will be explaining more about in a future video. So please subscribe and share, and I will see you guys tomorrow.